any kind of action in quite a while. But you see the temperatures today at 90 degrees. Humidity is also up there. The wind humming right now at a pretty clean 22 miles per hour. Not a chance of rain at all. A couple of scattered clouds, but all in all, it's going to be a perfect day for ball. Group B, League C standings right now in real time. Aruba with 3 points. U.S. Virgin Islands with 1 point. And Cayman Islands, they have one as well. These teams were able to play back in the month of September, about three and a half weeks ago. And obviously the differential there was one team winning it, one team losing it, and then one team playing to a draw. U.S. Virgin Islands, they played the 2-2 draw against the Cayman Islands back on September the 7th. Casey McLaughlin had her own goal in the 23rd minute. But for the U.S. Virgin Islands, Jimson St. Louis had a goal in the 42nd minute. And that game ended in a 2-2 draw. U.S. Virgin Islands, they outshot the Cayman Islands 11-10 in that contest. So it was a little bit different of an outcome when you look at what they did, what they could not do. The possession category was not in their favor. They were outpossessed by the Cayman Islands 52% to 48. But all in all, the chances were pretty much even across the board. Meanwhile, on the other side of things for Aruba, they beat up on the Cayman Islands. It was a 2-1 outcome. That contest, you saw a lot of firepower early on in the affair. Rovion Ostiane, he had a goal in the second minute to give Aruba a 1-0 advantage. But Christopher Nunez found the equalizer for the Cayman Islands in the 6th minute. And then all of a sudden, there was nothing going on for roughly about 72, 73 minutes. And then Daryl Belay scored in the 79th minute the game-winning goal. Cayman Islands were severely outshot in that contest by Aruba, 22-2 in that affair. They were also outpossessed 59% to 41%. And all in all, when you look at the body of work in that contest, Aruba also generated 11 corner kicks to just 1 for the Cayman Islands. So certainly they won the contest 2-1. They were the better team. They expected to be the better team, and the results showed for it. So it was no bad break on their side of the ledger as well. Meanwhile, when you look at this and how things will be broken down today, the clubs, they haven't seen action for quite a while. So when they do play here in about roughly 7-8 minutes from now, see who can get that top mark. But right now, as how it is standing, both these teams neck and neck in their respective Group B standing. It's been the first ever meeting between the two nations, and both these clubs relying on the front strikers to get things done. For Aruba, they'll have a couple different guys that they're looking at. Rovion Ostiana and then Daryl Belay. Those are the two guys that do a lot of the heavy lifting for them, and obviously the ones that did the damage against the Cayman Islands. But all in all, this should be a well thought out, even affair. But obviously, one team can come away with a victory, the other one not so much. And if you are back in the U.S. Virgin Islands right now and the position that you're in, well, you want to make sure you get a W. You can't afford to have a tie here today. Otherwise, Aruba is going to claim that mark, at least have the top standing right now. These teams will obviously see some more action as the weeks go along as well. We're looking between anywhere November the 16th and November the 21st. Those dates have yet to be decided just yet, but the U.S. Virgin Islands and Aruba will go toe-to-toe again, with Aruba and Cayman Islands also scoring off in a week after that. Both teams on the pitch right now, walking their way to midfield. Also got the officials right now. So we're going to step aside for a couple minutes, and when we return after the national anthems, we'll get you the starters for both sides. U.S. Virgin Islands and Aruba right around the corner. And so here we go. Match number 2 between the U.S. Virgin Islands and Aruba. Both these teams saw some action against the Cayman Islands. So let's take a look now at the starters for both of these sides. We'll take a look first at Aruba. Aruba coming into this contest took care of the Cayman Islands about a month ago. 2-1, as we mentioned, was the final score. They blasted the Cayman Islands in terms of possession, the opportunities, and they walked away as the victor, claiming 3 points in that affair. They'll go with an alignment here today of a 4-3-3. That is the formation here for Mark Bermudez. Antink is in net here today. Paul Lewis Leidens led. Ostiana, got to look out for him. He was the goal scorer against the Cayman Islands a month ago. Bennett, Ruthrusen, Maria, Richard, and Romano up front as well. Always look at the officials. Quincy Williams, the lead official here today. See how active he is on the pitch. Then the other officials on the sidelines, and our fourth official, Ansley Rochard, Caleb Wales, and also Timothy Derry, our fourth official, which will help out with substitutions and also stoppage time at halftime and at full. For the U.S. Virgin Islands, coming into this contest, having played to a 2-2 draw with the Cayman Islands, they have 1 point right now. Love to capture 3 more here today. They're in the blue and the white kits with the gold around the letters and also the numbers as well. Take a look at their starters. Giba Damiano, the head coach. Dylan Ramos in net here today. They go with a 4-4-2 alignment. James Mack, the captain here today. Mack can score. He's the focal point of the attack here for the U.S. Virgin Islands. He'll be in the middle of the park here today. Brown, Joseph Green, all the way up front with Lionel Brown and Quinn Farrell as well on the back line for Giba Damiano. Temperatures, as we mentioned, 9 degrees. Humidity is certainly up there, around 80%. The one thing that's a saving grace today is certainly the breeze, the wind blowing out at 22 miles per hour as this contest is underway. U.S. Virgin Islands moving from right to left on your screen. Or I beg your pardon, moving from left to right, but Aruba going from right to left. We got some early contact and no booking just yet, but tumbling down is Benjamin Maria, who is down, and he is in some agony right now. So it's not a good look just a couple seconds into this affair. We got taken out. Jeez. Contest is all of about 17 seconds old, and Maria down on the deck, and you see the medical staff working on his right knee. Lauren Van Gastel, a physiotherapist, tending to Maria. Maria going to be playing up front here today as long as he can stay on the pitch in some kind of capacity with Gruthusen and also Kaimani Ned. Well, at least that's a good look for Maria. Not that he was down, but able to get up and somewhat walk off under his own power. Ostiana will restart this attack. A little bit of physicality here in the first couple of minutes worth of action, and now we're kind of curious to see what kind of an impact, or if there'd be a line from our lead official today, and Quincy Williams. He's already been active early on. Marcelin, who got taken out just moments ago, back up to his feet. He's been walking around a little wobbly now. Pretty much everybody across the pitch here today with the club team outside of Marcelin. But you don't have a great deal of familiarity with the squads. Just in terms of teammates playing on the same club team. Long throw in here inside the box. Aruba chance to get this thing out of harm's way, and they do. Matches, of course, can end in draws, but in a situation like this with the U.S. Virgin Islands, haven't recorded a victory yet in league play. Sitting 2 points back of Aruba. Need to get one done here today. That shot going well wide of the net. No look at all towards Lentic. Decent amount of games here today with Nations League act. Everything rolling about. Chances looking. Across the top of the box. That one's intercepted nicely by the East Virgin Islands. They'll go back in the attack against Aruba. Had no numbers. They're trying to work the transition game. That pass intercepted nicely, though. Biden, and he peels us back to Lentic. For Aruba working here today, you'd love to get back to work immediately, especially when you had such a positive outcome a month ago against the Cayman Islands. And a little two-man game. Yes, Virgin Islands not going to be baited into anything. On the approach, here goes Ned, but Ned has that thing go about 20 feet in front of him. It's a poor pass, and he'll have to matriculate back. Ned playing for Excelsior Rotterdam. Oddly enough, Aruba has him listed up front as a forward. It does appear more that he's in the middle of the pitch than anything up front. They get some players colliding right underneath this. One of them was Benjamin Bryan, who had gotten taken out earlier on this affair. Over onto the right side. 6 minute. No quality chances on either side for the U.S. Virgin Islands or Aruba. Ned. Maria. Maria working. To Walter Bennett. Bennett quickly as they move this thing all the way around the pitch. Six minute. Aruba being clearly on possession and at least working their way down the field compared to the U.S. Virgin Islands. Just outside, trying to make a move. That shot kicked out. Second one won't go either. Nice stop away. Good looks, but Ramos coming out to attack. Maria. And this one rolls in. So a couple good looks towards target, but Dylan Ramos clearly up to the task early on. No score. So the aggression been there for Aruba. U.S. Virgin Islands on their heels a bit. And a quick restart here with Richard. Ned lost the handle on it, and he'll have to give it back on a turnover. So Luster Leon got to remember the chances against Dylan Ramos. Came up strong on both occasions. Take a look at Julius Brown. And that's just a bad, poor pass there. Ned lets the thing go out of bounds. So one thing, if anything, this is reminiscent of what Aruba did at the Cayman Islands a month ago. Heavy on the ball, trying to work the build-up, looking for the payoff. Fans encouraging their team. And now just roll into Ramos. That's a pretty good attendance over the last few days. All the clubs in their respective groups and leagues. Chance here to move up for Aruba. They can capture 3 more points here today. Far side official indicating that'll be offside. Nice little lecture now being had. Walter Bennett giving a slight earful from our lead official and Quincy Williams. We had one official indicating it was offside, and now we'll see if there was actually a foul away from the play. Looks to be the case. So U.S. Virgin Islands will maintain possession here in the 10th minute. Couple shots early on for Aruba, nothing yet for U.S. Virgin Islands. White drives this thing in, and that certainly was a shot, but no real threat to Lentic. Even if that thing did land, it was going wide. That's a poor throw, or at least control anyway, by Ned. And that's a careless giveaway. White will immediately throw it in, and now waiting for Julius Brown. Brown trying to get it back. Quite choppy from the U.S. Virgin Islands early on. Mentioned their game against the Cayman Islands. There was goals that were scored immediately in that affair. Same thing with Aruba, but he had 4 goals between the two clubs. Granted, one of the markers for the U.S. Virgin Islands was an own goal, courtesy of the Cayman Islands, but taking advantage of that. Having 21 combined shots in that affair. There was a lot of action the first 45. Here today, not so much, at least for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Aruba's been pretty good up to this point. Some solid energy. Chance for Aruba to switch the pitch, and they do. Got some possible numbers developing on a 3-on-2 over on the left-hand side. A wide open lane. There is Ramos again with another stop. That's 3 of them. That one walking the goal line. It stays away as well. Romano with a great look, point blank, and Dylan Ramos with another big save. The pass was perfect, and Romano with his left foot. Ramos was guessing that way, and it paid off. So we've seen a lot of fire come towards Dylan Ramos early on. He's answered every call. Good transition, though, by Aruba, just to press the attack after some careless play in the attacking third by the U.S. Virgin Islands. See the comparisons between the two teams in terms of possession. It is clearly towards Aruba. Dangerously close to be even higher than that. Strange as it is. Naturally, during the course of a contest, these things will even out, or at least get somewhat close to 50-50. We'll be curious to see how long this takes for the U.S. Virgin Islands to relatively wake up. Ned into the box. This one a little too hot to handle. Staying in then. Ostiana racing for it. Ruthusen there. Just unable to capture it. Ruthusen. Top of the box. That one blocked on the way through. Chance for the U.S. Virgin Islands to switch the pitch, and they do, at least for the time being. Leidens. Kaimani Ned. A little bit of miscommunication there. Players not on the same page. Maria going one way, and that pass went the other. There's Julius Brown, peels back now. So Aruba on a couple of occasions in the first half have done a good job of building things up from their back line out. See if the U.S. Virgin Islands can return fire the other way. Bahamas will be playing later on today. Keep an eye on that. And they get our Antigua and Barbuda. Well, one thing that's been evident here in the first portion of this opening half, Aruba doing a fine job of working the left side, the right end of the defense of the U.S. Virgin Islands. They've clearly found a soft spot. Paul can't get to it, although somehow able to at least win possession as that ball goes out of bounds. Last touch by the U.S. Virgin Islands. Bennett. Back to Paul. Paul just can't get to it. Keeps up with it though. Paul, that soft pass intercepted at the last moment. That thing punted into the stands. Great job by Paul not to give up on the play. Paul and the rest of Aruba have to get back and stay on the side. Another poorly untimed pass goes right back to the U.S. Virgin Islands. Aruba clearly the better team early on. And the U.S. Virgin Islands just kind of hanging around, weathering a few flurries. There's Lentink. Hasn't been busy early on. Really hasn't seen any kind of traffic his way either. 17th minute. U.S. Virgin Islands going to have a couple matches in this month. But it is nice to see, since there's no familiarity between the two squads. First ever endeavor between the two programs. Leidens here. little cat and mouse. U.S. Virgin Islands to playing a 4-4-2 formation, so not really on top of the ball and pressing up front. Trying to play more towards the counter of anything from Aruba. But Aruba, for the most part, they've been pretty good handling possession. That one just off the right foot of Maria. Back to Ramos. In this first half, we'll have some stats. We'll have some highlights. Have some pretty decent pictures of what's going on here. A pretty decent idea as well, right? Been pretty much a highlight package of Aruba on the attack and Dylan Ramos coming up with a couple of nice stops. Far side, that shot going short side against Lintic, a little bit off the mark. Near side official didn't indicate offside at all, so fellas certainly did play on. But it was a decent kind of look from Harris. Outside, that chance nullified. Players going tumbling down inside the 18. One of them there, Bruthusen, alongside Quinn Farrell. Looks like he got the bad end of it. Yeah, it wasn't the initial contact. It's when he had Bruthusen fall on top of him. Virgin Islands trying to spring loose. They don't have numbers. Good transition from Aruba. Ooh, fine play defensively. Paul getting in front of that. 21st minute. Deep possessed. Back comes Aruba. Bruthusen. Looking for a little bit of real estate. The backdrop, here's Ned. Ned's got about 4 players inside the 18. Doesn't want to put it in harm's way yet. Looking for a little bit more movement. Leidens over to Ned. See the shots. 4 shots for Aruba. Nothing yet for the U.S. Virgin Islands. And yes, all 4 shots are on target. That's not a grand total. Those shots on goal. That shot from well outside, screaming over the arm of Ramos. Pretty decent look there as Ostiana give a good drive. Ambitious, yes, but never afraid to pull it. Think about the accuracy of that shot because of the velocity on it from Ostiana. He puts that near the corner. Could be a highlight reel goal for him. Not the case. Match is still scoreless. Maria. Back to Ned. Clearly been tilted one side of the column for these both these teams, and especially on this left side of the pitch. Ned, who wanted to get it back, he does have it. The chip from Maria, a little bit too long for Ned. See if he wins. He does. He wins a corner kick here. Nice little two-man game between the two combatants, Ned and Maria. Diana on this corner kick, working the short corner. That ball volleyed around, back heel kick stays away. Lyons was looking at it from his goal line. Plenty of contact inside the box. The officials letting the fellas play on. I mean, that was anything but a rub, I can tell you that much. Quincy Williams not electing to blow his whistle or point to the spot. Ruthuson tried to get creative with that heel kick, but no payoff there. Pretty hard cold shoulder towards Romano. Mack was the one that delivered that hit. But we play on here into the 25th minute. Possible run here. That one's broken up. Ball's going to stay in bounds. Everyone pretty much in the field stopped playing except for Aruba. Interesting pace in this contest. Almost feels like in certain spots, U.S. Virgin Islands are slow playing things. Aruba not so much. They've gone for it. The game time temperatures are where they're at right now, 9 degrees. And we're going to have a water break. Hydration break here in the 26th minute. Aruba, Virgin Islands, scoreless right now. Back to work we go after that hydration. Game time temperature is 90 degrees. So you got to imagine on the pitch right now, probably a little hotter than that. I'd guess closer to 100 than 90. The breeze is the only saving grace. That passed just a little bit too long on the feed. See if this works in the favor of the U.S. Virgin Islands. They've been outplayed for long portions of this half. But again, the match still scoreless. Here's Maria. Maria 1-on-2 against White. Wins it there. The cross into the box, coming out the last moment to punch it away. It's Dylan Ramos, who's been busy in this first half, but he's been delightful to see between the sticks. A lot of activity for him early on. Here's Ned. Ned Grutherson. Back out to Maria. Grutherson with some space, takes the shot, trying to go the long way. That ball didn't have enough bend to it. Feel like it's a matter of when, not if, for Aruba. Played extremely well in this contest. A weak attempt there as that one played across and Lewis able to intercept it. 31st minute. A couple minutes of stoppage time. We'll see how long we have. I beg your pardon for a hydration break, but stoppage time coming because of that. Joseph here in the corner. Again, at the end of this contest, we'll have full-time stats and highlights. Same thing at the half. Feels like it'll be the Dylan Ramos show. Shot so far 6-1 in favor of Aruba. And the possession game 65-35 for Aruba as well. Been cleaner with the passing, have been aggressive, and they've looked for their spots. Ned working quickly. Grutherson to the middle of the park. Richard all the way out wide. Paul springing in. That shot with the left, no good. Bennett flip this thing all the way around the left-hand side of Ned. Ned's got an open crease. Ned getting hog-tied from behind, and this will result in a free kick. And I think it was blatant, and White was caught off by a step or two. Had to make the foul. It was a good foul, and end result is a booking here, the yellow card in the 33rd minute. This is an instance where White has to take that foul. I mean, Ned had a crease for a good 5 yards. Could have pulled the trigger at any time. But he baited two defenders also towards him. So you figure if White doesn't commit that foul, it's either a shot or a pass with a clean look towards Ramos for Aruba. See who takes this now. Got to imagine it's Ostiana. But Maria's to his left. Ostiana to the right, Maria to the left. Who takes it? 34th minute, best quality chance of the game for either side. Maria takes it with the right foot. Good stop again by Ramos. With that wall in front of him, Ramos alertly looking around, and Maria with a bullet earmarked for that bottom left-hand corner. Another big stop for the keeper. It's a fine approach by Maria. And you see the action from that shot. Not only was it bending to the left, but it also had a good dip action to it, so it sunk away. And Ramos, nice work. I don't know what that conversation with Rakeem Joseph and our lead official, Quincy Williams, was about. Anyways, Fells back to work in the 35th minute. Ostiana, poor strike there. Not the best look on a corner kick. Ostiana. Ooh, he nearly got it back. Played through, Richard. Bouncing, volleying around. US Virgin Islands have it for the time being. And then just gave it away again. Uninspired ball so far. Really has been, at least for US Virgin Islands. Aruba, aggressive and hungry. Pushing forward. Guthuson wanted him the back post. That pass just a little bit too hot and high for him to handle. Bennett had a great deal of speed here, but the speed, unfortunate for him, got the better of him. Just couldn't loft it over one defender and put it onto the foot of Guthuson. .37th minute. Ooh, near giveaway. That would have led to an odd man attack for Aruba. Clean contact there. Ned and Aruba will win it here. Final stages of this first half. It's clearly been on one side, at least all the activity. Aruba with 7 shots to just 1 for the US Virgin Islands. Possession 66% to 34% for the US Virgin Islands. Obviously not the same score, but eerily similar in terms of the dominance of one side. Aruba doing the same thing to the Cayman Islands a month ago. Out shooting them in their 2-1 victory, 22-2. Well, when you possess, you make the other team chase you. Well, those things will happen, won't they? White. There's Virgin Islands on a build-up here. Plenty of contact just before we get to the 18. A whistle and a foul. Best look from that close. Lionel Brown, who got taken out, getting back up to the turf. Rajay Joseph and Jahir White both looking on. Medical staff coming out for Aruba. Don't know if Walter Bennett caught something in the eye. Oh, he did. He caught an elbow. That's exactly what he caught. Could be the eye and the nose, but perspiration also getting up there. It stings. See who takes this launch. Be from about 35 yards out. Lionel Brown is lurking outside. Could be White that takes this shot. Got a handful of players for the U.S. Virgin Islands inside the 18. White's going to lay off. That shot, a great stop on the other end by Lentic. First golden opportunity here for the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Lentic with a big stop there in the closing minutes of this first half. Not an easy shot to stop, especially when you haven't had a great deal of action like Lentic has been in. Quality for quality. Back post. Lentic coming out the challenge, and a good stop off his line. A couple of these set pieces have been dangerous for Aruba. Can't get a number. The U.S. Virgin Islands play, and that's down. Might have been Joseph. Just sliding over that ball. Haven't had a great deal of flow in this first half. There have been some stoppages because of injuries. Hydration break as well. Not the cleanest first half that we've ever seen, but nevertheless, it should make for an interesting second half. One of the guys that's been a hero is that man there, Dylan Ramos. Big contact here near the boundary. Rutherson there. Clearly getting outpaced to take a foul like that. No booking though. Brown delivering, going the long way. Lentic is out. And for the most part, you didn't have anybody causing havoc inside the 18 for the U.S. Virgin Islands. So even with that approach from Brown, didn't feel like it'd have any kind of payoff. Maria. Benjamin with a couple fine moves. Holding his ground. Aruba keeping the ball as well. Good possession, nice build up. Back and forth, Paul, and Lions spilled out near the 6. You got two players that were colliding there, and one of them, Casal Green, in some agony. Nickinson Paul, who we just mentioned, came like he was shot out of a cannon down the middle of the pitch. And he is also down. It's been anything but a comfortable first half of action here. Yeah, you see the tie-up, Green and Paul. That's knee-on-knee collision there. And so when Paul went down, slight hesitation, but he was certainly in some pain, and Green felt it immediately. One thing you're thinking about is if it's not knee-on-knee, it could be just on the top of the knee or to the side of it, which would lead you to believe that a possible Charlie horse is on the way. Yes, you can play on it, but man, it's going to start hurting once the leg gets cold. No sign of it being cold here today. You see the men and women in attendance. Hats, sunglasses. Shockingly enough, no umbrellas. Of course, a great deal of shorts and tank tops. Are they comfortable? Maybe. But definitely enjoying the action here in the scene. So it looks like two combatants will come off, Green and Paul. '45th minute. The way this first half is gone, I wouldn't be surprised if we have about 7 or 8 minutes of stoppage time. Even with the game time temperatures being close to triple digits, and there you go, 6 minutes. Timothy Derry. Well, that's a tough call going against Grutherson. Talking with Williams. It's about as casual and a calming talk as I imagine the two sides would have in that situation. Looked like a 50-50 ball on that occasion, too. Shots 7-2 in favor of Aruba. They've had at least 60% possession this first half for almost the entire match. Well, with the way that Aruba has played, they've been the more aggressive team. Have taken more shots, have had better chances. And they've also gone after it. And the question is, how do they close out this first half as Joseph gets a decent-sized lecture, but no booking. They've only had one yellow card. It was white in the 33rd minute. A blatant and obvious foul that had to be called, and so the yellow had to come out as well. Lentic, what a great stop on a free kick in the 36th minute. So he's seen two shots come his way. Both of them he's denied. Romano trying to pivot, looking for a crease. See if this is a result of a corner kick, and it will be. Or at least one official indicated that, and now they go back and correct themselves. It'll be a goal kick. Looked like Romano's efforts were going to give him at least a set piece here in the closing moments of this first half. Not the case. Wind really picking up. Romano depossessing, controlling, and Aruba working. Ned and Maria up front. Maria to Ned. Ned with the cross. That one just a bit off the mark. Rutherson didn't have the angle. Position was okay, but the angle for that header slightly off balance. Romano again. Ooh, that's awfully close. Awfully close. Ostiana looked like he had a good step or two on the defense and got a pretty decent sized shove in the back of Lionel Brown. Time winding down in this first half. We'll have highlights and some stats when we do come back. Lentic alertly coming out, not taking any kind of chances on that one. And that'll do it here for the first half worth of action. Quincy Williams blows the whistle. First 45 in the books. Aruba, the better team so far. U.S. Virgin Islands have had some chances, a couple of shots. Nothing across the board just yet. 45 minutes in the books here. Second match. Concacaf Nations League action. Group B, League C. But we're at the half. And this match between Aruba and the U.S. Virgin Islands is scoreless. We'll be back. And the second half is officially underway. Aruba going from left to right. U.S. Virgin Islands moving from right to left. This match right now is scoreless. First ever endeavor between these two teams, but it's game number 2 of Concacaf Nations League action, Group B in League C. Courtesy of a victory over the Counts a month ago. U.S. Virgin Islands played to a 2-2 draw with the Cayman Islands back on September the 7th. No changes just yet for either side. But at least Virgin Islands, they were clearly outclassed in the first 45. They weren't burned, but they're going to have to change something drastically in the second half if they're going to come away with 3 points, let alone 1. That strike from well out, never going to have a chance there. Matthew Lentick saw a couple shots in the first half. One of them was a tough stop just outside the 18 on a free kick. But all in all, a pretty comfortable day at the office for him at this point. So we'll see if anything changes in the next 45. But a matter of what can happen with Romano here. Outside to Paul. Paul can't keep it comfortably, and this will be a throw-in for Aruba. Romano squeezed. Played through nicely. Grutusen tried to hold it, got it back. Grutusen with that left foot rejected immediately. See if he does it on the second crack. Paul outside, that drive on goal, easy stop for Dylan Ramos. Probably the easiest one of the 6 he's seen so far. U.S. Virgin Islands really in some dangerous and vulnerable spots in the first half. Just fortunate enough to walk away with the match scoreless. Here in half number 2, hasn't felt like it's been anything different. Be rather curious to see what Marvick Bermudez had for his troops. Aruba, pretty good. Not playing direct by any means either. There were certain occasions where they went north and south, but everything was out wide on the perimeter. Trying to open up some lanes and some creases against the defense of the U.S. Virgin Islands. '50th minute here. handful of matches later on today. We'll keep you posted as the afternoon rolls. U.S. Virgin Islands with a couple of matches this month. Aruba and U.S. Virgin Islands playing today. They will also see each other later on during the sequence in group competition. Dangerously looking, and that ball finds some twine. Broken sequence. And U.S. Virgin Islands careless with the ball. Ends up in the back of their net. No chance for Dylan Ramos. Ostiana finds Paydirt. And this one, the 52nd minute, finds a home and a crease. And it's 1-0 Aruba. I mean, that's a clear breakdown, too, when you look at it. U.S. Virgin Islands expecting that ball to be played offside. It was not the case. Ostiana, who did some damage in that contest against the Cayman Islands in that 2-1 victory, scoring in the 6th minute, finds the first marker here in the second contest. Man, it's a bad breakdown for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Almost the equivalent of them being asleep at the wheel. And Ostiana took full advantage of it. Finding it against Ramos, it's 1-0. So Romano, his assist, leading to Ostiana's goal in the 52nd minute. And you figured the payoff was going to come eventually for Aruba, and it finally did. But the way that these squads had played, it's more of a feeling in the first half than the second. But regardless, it happens. Here's Romano. Cross, nobody home for Aruba. But it's the same thing that they did in the first half. As you look at the man of the hour, Ostiana. Same thing they did the first half. U.S. Virgin Islands will take on Cayman Islands on the 17th of this month. Again, only 3 teams that are in this group, Group B anyway. '55th minute. It was a choppy first half. There was plenty of fouls on both ends. Had 1 yellow card. Air White with the yellow card in the 33rd minute. So he's been playing on that yellow for the rest of this contest. There have been no substitutions on either end. Neither team playing with a short bench either. So there's an anticipation of tired legs, at least from one end. It doesn't matter who. But we anticipate a change. Hard challenge by Paul there. Ball played around, immediately taken out of the 18. We're rather curious to see what kind of changes that would be made for the U.S. Virgin Islands, not only in terms of tactics, but also players on the pitch. They just haven't looked good so far. For Aruba, they've been clean. That man right there who's down the deck, Benjamin Maria, he's fared well. Created some chances, had a good look on a corner kick that came his way off of a cross from Ostiana. And then on a free kick that was set up, almost found his first goal beating Lions, but he was denied. So he's down, getting attended to. Gives us a chance to take a look at what's happening today. It's 7 matches yesterday. 3 of them here today. And the one being played right now. Puerto Rico has a lead in their contest, and later on today, you're going to get the Bahamas. And the Bahamas will be playing against Antigua and Barbuda. .58th minute here. U.S. Virgin Islands don't have a shot in this half. Romano. Paul flanked out to the right-hand side. Played through nicely into the box. A little bit of misjudgment there on that anticipated pass. I feel like Richard pulled up on the brakes a little bit. Not sure why. Shots now 10-3 favoring Aruba. Possession still 64-36 in favor of Aruba. I think the biggest tail of the tape, besides the 1-0 for Aruba, 95%. 95% to 84 for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Laquan Henry coming in for White. White, who was playing on that yellow card from the 33rd minute on, no longer be a factor in this contest. So White out, Henry in. It's a first change, 20 for 22. First change for either side, in fact. Stepping into the crease, and that ball was going to be played through nicely, but instead that happens. A yellow card's coming out immediately, as Quincy Williams will indicate as much. Henry, who just came onto the pitch, a yellow card, so he's into the book in the 60th minute. See what the U.S. Virgin Islands do here. Henry's yellow card in the 60th minute. Grutherson inside the 18 along with Romano on that right-hand side. Played through nicely. Grutherson with some space, lines with the initial stop. The second one he can't grab. It's 2-0 Aruba. They've been so dangerous on the afternoon, and finally we see the dividends pay off. Well, Dylan Ramos with the initial stop. He beats Grutherson there, and you see it, but the second one he can't collect. And Jolly on the spot. Lions beats him. So Ramos hung out to dry on 2 occasions. And you feel bad for Dylan Ramos because he's done everything that he can in this contest. But regardless, Aruba forging forward 2-0. Get another change as Romano will come out. Mishan Molina will come in for him. It's the first change for Aruba. So Romano's day's over with. He fared well. So pretty fast these goals being scored by Aruba. Two goals, 10 minutes apart. That shot, oh my gosh, it gets past Lentic, and it's now 2-1. That thing had no velocity on it. Absolutely none from about 30 yards out. That thing had no chance of going past anybody. And I think Lentic just lost it, simply lost it. I mean, it has to be the case, right? Mack had that thing going rolling in off his right foot. He might have hit it flush, but it had no steam on it. An excuse me goal. Unsuspecting as it was in the 64th minute, don't go anywhere. 3 goals in the matter here of 13 minutes. Wow, that is utterly shocking. So Mack with his first. And now Aruba, who look like they're well on their way to causing a bit of a blowout. Looking for another insurance marker. Ooh, wide open lane here, left-hand side. With Paul. Shard, I think, overplayed that. Back post again. Ramos talking to his team on the back line, and Dylan trying to direct some traffic for his defense. Well, the intensity of this contest has been ratcheted up over the last 15, 20 minutes. We'll eventually look at that goal again for Mack. That thing's got some spin to it, and Ramos reading the wind as that ball was being cut around by Mother Nature. Joseph, nice pass. Out wide. The transition game of Aruba pretty stout here defensively. Another change here. More McInnes. He's coming into the affair. Ramos SS, Moore McGinnis. Second change here for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Well, going down 2-0 is a daunting task to come back from. But James Mack with a seeing eye shot, if you will, beating Lentic. Ball hovering around. This one picked up by Aruba. See what they do on the counter. That ball, poor intentions. And that'll result in a goal kick. Nice move, Henry. Henry looking for a crease. Lentic at least stops that one. Might have somebody down on the opposite side of the pitch. And that is exactly the case. Richard, who is down. Possible cramp. We had a hydration break in the first half, right around the 25th minute. Let's see if that happens here in the second half. Nice job by Henry to maintain his footing. Low center of gravity. Another change. Linshear came in for Romano. That's the announcement. Aruba back on the approach. Split played the long way, trying to get to it. Okay, Monty Ned was explosive in the first half. Trying to set up a third goal for Aruba. Not yet. Shard appears to be okay. Bennett. Paul here. Played through and headed away. So at least if anything, there's been more of a emphasis. From Aruba to try to play balls into the box. Ruthusen trying to settle it down, couldn't. Ooh, a little soft touch foul. I bet it's not too happy with that call. conclusion of this match, we'll have full-time highlights and some stats. The cross again. That one fended off. Ostiana, first marker for Aruba in the 52nd minute. Leiden's the go-ahead goal, which it looks like now in the 62nd minute. James Mack, the retaliation for U.S. Virgin Islands in the 64th minute. Here's Paul. Dickinson Paul screeches us back to Fernando Lewis, the captain. Weak pass there, intercepted. Now, there was a lot of defending in that first half on that right-hand side. Ned. No real breakdowns from the U.S. Virgin Islands in the opening half. Oddly enough, they've looked a little bit better here in the second half than in the first. And despite all that, they give 2 goals in this half. '73rd minute. Nice job by Maria here. Benjamin with a burst, trying to make a move. Well, they've been a little bit more patient here. Richard, long ball. That was intended for Paul. Players walking this way. That gives me an indication it will be a hydration break. Here in the 73rd minute, Aruba 2-1 over the U.S. Virgin Islands. Hydration break is over with. Got a handful of changes. 3 of them on one side for Aruba. 1 for the U.S. Virgin Islands, as you see Matthew Roth coming into the affair. Daniel Inshear, Mark Jacobs, Jadon Dania, 19, 12, and 20 respectively for Aruba coming into this contest right now. So clearly Marvick Bermudez, the head coach, want to get some fresh bodies on the pitch. Desperately trying to preserve this lead. Ostiana's day is over with. Leaves with the goal on his hip pocket. Now it's a matter of his teammates closing up shop. Arthbert William. Pretty good pivot. 77th minute, and this will be a goal kick. See the changes. So all in all, we've had 4 changes now for Aruba. 3 of them for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Nice slide tackle, possession kept. And here we go, Dania. Trying to make a move, Dania with a piece. Dania looking for a lot more, gets taken down just outside the 18. Well, he had a great deal of creativity there. Eluding one defender, skipping past the second. And everyone for the U.S. Virgin Islands pretty much caught flat-footed. Mack was backtracking, but that foul clearly going to be on Quinn Farrell. Farrell just shooting out his right foot. I feel like Dania in this position should take the shot, right? Free kick's coming. It's a matter of who it's from. I mean, this is almost the equivalent of a penalty. Just because of the proximity and where these guys are aligned. See Ramos in the background. He doesn't want to be screened by his teammates, but you got to pick a side. Because of the way this ball's positioned in the middle of the park. Curious. Ned, who's also there on the right-hand side. Let's see if Ned takes this or it's Dania. It is Dania. Low target off the bar. The rebound is shot wide. Wow. That was a golden opportunity to make this a 2-goal margin. See the initial bid skip off the post, and then the fattest of rebounds for Daniel Inshear. And I don't know how you missed the net. He just flat out missed it from 2 feet away, but he did. Those things happen. 81st minute. Well, some dramatics. here in this contest. More so for Aruba than the U.S. Virgin Islands. They've been outperformed by a wide discrepancy in this affair. And quite frankly, they're lucky enough to be in this thing. See the score being 2-1. It should be probably 3-0 if it wasn't for Dylan Ramos in net. And, of course, the luxury of one goal post. But Mac with a goal. Ball that went rolling simply past Matthew Lentic. And with some fresh bodies on the pitch for Aruba, they're looking for an exclamation point. Win here today will give them 6 points. And then move their record in Group B, League C, to 2-0. Third minute. Aruba trying to press forward for another goal. See that sharp takedown into the attacking third. Tumbling down was Lynn Shear. Ball. Richard here taking his time. 84th minute. I feel like in this situation with Aruba, you want to take as much time off the clock as humanly possible. And in doing so, try to set up a quality chance. Ramos comes off his line, vacates the net, lost the handle on him for a moment. Ball skied up in the air. Some physicality, players colliding. Quincy Williams finally blows the play dead and says it was a foul. Foul going against Ned. Jacobs wanted to get it back. Bennett. Dania had an angle for a shot, elected not to. Jacobs with it now. Into the box. Carrying him around. Aruba not selling for the 2 goals. They're looking for a whole lot more. Jacobs again. That cross. Couple players for Aruba around and getting beat again is Ramos. He's beside himself. It doesn't matter. This thing is all but over. Misha Molino making it 3-1. Molina, who came into this contest on the bench, comes in as a sub here in the second half, and Molina bangs it home, but it all set up because of Jacobs. Look how creative he was with that. I mean, pretty much lofted that ball near the 6, and Molina makes sure to make that thing count. So Mark Jacobs with the assist on Molina's goal. I mean, there's two players for Molina and Jacobs to look at that were near each other. But those two guys got together on the same page. And you have to feel bad for Dylan Ramos. Hung out to dry, it felt like. Any thought of a comeback for the U.S. Virgin Islands is not going to happen now. No chance. The fact that they have one goal is rather fortunate. Aruba looking to pour it on. That shot from outside also hit the woodwork. Second shot in this half bouncing off the woodwork. Ned, who elected to have that thing fly. Jacobs pushing forward again. Everyone bouncing around. Molina inside the box. Dania, excuse me, is a little hot. Dania's not happy with the fact that nothing was called in his favor. And now he's going to have a talking to with Quincy Williams. I mean, it's apparent that Dania not happy with the result. Look at the way that Molina just chipped this thing inside. I mean, if you're Dania, you're going for a bicycle kick right there. It's not his fault. Change here for Aruba. Susbeek coming in. Pieter. Really picking up now. And Maria departs. Maria played well in this game as we're in the 90th minute. No malice on that attempt. There's more McGinnis got taken out. It's a 50-50 ball. Both players fighting for it. Bennett with the shoulder. 6 minutes of stoppage time awarded. I don't know if you want to call that a reward for the U.S. Virgin Islands, but figure if they're going to have any shot show a sign of life, it has to happen here. Brown working the back post, and that thing never had a chance. Nowhere near being fruitful at all. That's why I'm rather curious whether the fourth official, Timothy Derry, gave us 6 minutes of stoppage time. We had a hydration break that lasted for 2 minutes. But that's been pretty much it across the second half. Not a lot of stoppages at all because of injuries or physicality or cramping or anything. So for Aruba, they're going to move to 2-0 in Group B, and they're going to log 6 points. For the U.S. Virgin Islands, they're going to be stuck winless. 0-1-1. Bennett. Molina peels this thing over to the right-hand side of Jacobs. Ooh, Molina back to Jacobs. Watch out here. Jacobs on the goal line. Nice play by Ramos. So 3 goals scored in a matter of 13 minutes. 2 of them for Aruba and the 1 for the U.S. Virgin Islands. Misha Molina getting the insurance marker in the 86th minute to pretty much put this game to bed for Aruba. And they're just going to play this thing out to the very end. Dania called for the foul. Not happy about it either. You could depossess a player, and just because he falls down doesn't mean a foul needs to be called. Henry drew it. You look at Henry to the left of your screen. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot there. I mean, I don't think there's anything there. Aruba looking for more action. Harris with a nice slide tackle. There's Virgin Islands here on a counter. See if they can make this game any more competitive. Besides a 3-1 showing, Henry got taken out. Richard. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll have some stats and also some highlights at the end of this contest. Also, there'll be highlights available courtesy of Concacaf's YouTube channel. They'll have it throughout the Nations League so you can see exactly what goes on from start to finish. Dania has it. Dania looking to make it 4-1. That shot airmailed. Plus, played well since he's come on. can't say that it's just been him, but everyone's been sharp for Aruba. I think the one chink in the armor for Aruba today has been, I think, a net with Atlantic. One shot that beat him was not a good goal. And although he's only seen about 3 shots today, he's only capable of having a clean sheet on his resume. But not the case. Looks like this will be the final act of this contest, and then we'll wrap things up. Put a bow on it. Everybody moving forward for the U.S. Virgin Islands. On the corner, that header, and it finds the back of the net. So at least one thing, if anything, Hakeem Joseph making this outcome look a little bit more respectable. That goal off the corner, making it 3-2 Aruba. It's a pretty good chip. Wonderful chip, and then on top of that, the completed act from Joseph, who gets his goal. Regardless, though, Quincy Williams blowing the final whistle, and we had thought it would be the final act, at least for Joseph. He scores, but this match is all over. So for Aruba, they capture 3 more points. And I think for the U.S. Virgin Islands, oh, I beg your pardon. It sounded like Quincy Williams blew the whistle, indicating that this match is over. And now, hold on. Now it is the case. Now it's formal. Talk about a delayed move and hesitation. An awkward way to end the match, right? I think there might have been some communication about that goal being scored, but regardless, Aruba wins it. Aruba now 2-0 in Concacaf Nations League action, Group B, League C. They take both matches, one of them from the U.S. Virgin Islands here today, the other one from the Cayman Islands. And all in all, perfect 2-0, winning this match here today over the U.S. Virgin Islands in convincing fashion, too. Take nothing away from how the U.S. Virgin Islands tried to play today, but Aruba, simply just the better team. Outclassed them from start to finish, and they walked away as the victors. We've reached full time here with Aruba taking on the U.S. Virgin Islands, trying to capture 3 more points for Aruba. Well, how would they fare here today with U.S. Virgin Islands already having played a couple of contests, but today, completely different scene. And for Aruba, they had numerous opportunities to win this thing early on and couldn't, frankly, because Dylan Ramos was fantastic between the pipes for the U.S. Virgin Islands, but they would get their chances a lot. It wasn't necessarily just in the first half, but also in the second half as well. That man right there, Robian Ostiana, had a major impact in this contest. He created in the first half, but did find his way onto the scoring ledger into the second half. and we'll get to that in a moment. But regardless, though, in the first half, Aruba outshot U.S. Virgin Islands 7-1. He had 5 shots on target to just the 1 for the U.S. Virgin Islands. And one of the results here after Kaimani Ned got taken out, Benjamin Maria on the free kick denied by Dylan Ramos, who played well, but a big stop. But it was an indication of what was to come, and more of that in the second half. Walter Bennett here, some physicality there. But all in all, this is Aruba's day at the office. And they were so good, you figured there was a matter of time where they were going to take full advantage of the chances that the U.S. Virgin Islands did give them. Net on the cross, ball floating around. In the second half, we travel into, and that man right there, Matthew Lentink, probably wants more out of his effort. But finally a goal that was here. Ostiana on a nice setup. The cross came through. It was just a breakdown, really, for the U.S. Virgin Islands. It looked ill-prepared for that cross. They had played it and stopped playing for a few moments. So it was 1-0 after Ostiana's goal. And then a free kick that was delivered. Grutheson had the initial shot that was stopped by Ramos. Lydon's knocked it home. And then on the other end, Quinn Farrell was able to do his thing, making it 2-1. Lions back to work. Dania here, operating with a couple of open lanes, got taken out to set up a free kick. And this free kick was straight away. The initial shot hit the woodwork. The second one, the rebound by Linshear, sliced it wide. Then Mark Jacobs with a nice sauce pass into the box and just knocked in calmly and coolly by Mishan Molina, making it 3-1. And that's how this game ended. There was a quarter kick goal that was scored during stoppage time, but the officials waved it off. And the reason why was they had said, simply put, that Raheem Joseph was offside. So it ends 3-1 instead of 3-2. But the shots in this thing, 16-5. Shots on target, 8-3. Everything else pretty much for Aruba. And they win this by a final of 3-1. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll catch you again with more Concacaf Nations League action as the week goes along. Have a good one, everyone.